column out of a '05 Sprinter van. Okay, so I got it pretty much ready to come out. There's a few things that you might want to be aware about. That, I just used the crescent wrench and took that off. It actually attaches right here on the ignition. I believe that's the part that makes it to where when you step on the brake, you can shift. So, got to get that off. And then all the different wires, of course. And then there's two bolts there that hold it on. You can only see one because of the wiring. But there's two bolts there, and they attach to this plate here. It's actually turned upside down right now. And then outside, I'll show you outside. Right there, see that little rubber boot? That rubber boot just slides down. And then you got that right there. Okay, you see the little spring clip there? That sits right on there. And keeps tension on it so that your steering column doesn't slide out. So basically what I just did is pry the other part of the steering column off from the inside with a 2x4 as and leverage, and pried it out. I'll go in and show you. Okay, so what I did is I took this 2x4 and I put it across up under here like this, and I pull it like this, and I push down on it and got it out. So now I got this portion of the steering column out, and the reason that I'm changing the steering column in the first place is because of this. The people I bought it from, I don't know what they were doing, but they took all the threads off of that so the fuse box wouldn't stay on, and also they did something here so that my ignition switch just moves all kinds of crazy. See, you got round bolts with round heads on it there, make it rather hard to tighten up. So I just took the whole thing out, and I'm replacing the whole steering column with another one, rather than try to fool with these things here. And that's how you do that. It's a little difficult to do, but you get it in there, and you get it. It takes a bit of force to force it down on there, but once you do it, you get it down on there, and it's good. It's good. We got it together. Now I got to go put the bolts on there, tighten it all back up, hook up the brake lock and all that stuff, and we'll be ready to fire this baby up again. When putting this back together, I noticed everything was dry. So what I did is I put some dielectric grease on all these connections, everything. I put some dielectric grease on it so that it will prevent corrosion and give it a better contact for the future. And don't forget to hook up that guy when you're putting it back together. And then all the different wires, there's a bunch of different wires. You can't mix them up. They only go to one place, so that makes it easy. Each plug goes into a specific plug, can't mix them up. And two 13mm bolts that hold the steering column in down there, hook those up. There's a rubber grommet that goes down there. Don't forget to put that in, or else you'll have an air leak, maybe exhaust, who knows what, a leak through there. And then I'm also going to put some dielectric grease here also before I plug it back in, just for better contacts. Yep, but it's really not that difficult to do the steering column. goes together pretty good. Hardest part is reconnecting that shank down there if you don't take it loose from the gearbox. Taking it loose from the gearbox was a little bit difficult too, because I didn't have the right size Torx bit, or I didn't have it in the right position or something, because it just felt like it was stripping it. So I decided I'd leave it alone before I caused myself more problems than I already had, and just pulled it apart the way that the people that I got this steering column from took it apart. But I'm almost back together now. If you have this on your ignition, changing the steering column, you're not going to be able to start your van without having your old key close to it. You're going to have that. Apparently this is something to do with it, I would imagine. But I got to figure out a way to where I could have this key in the van, because with this in, I can start the van. Without the key, without this hooked up and in, I get start error is what it reads up here on my dash. So I hooked this up and put the key inside of it like this, and it started, no problem. But without that, it didn't start. When it hooked up the other way, unless you get the computer programmed for that other key. And I'm doing this at home right now. I don't have all that computer stuff to do all that, so I'm gonna figure this out, make this work. That's how that ended up. I ended up taping it to the old switch part tumblers, and this key, I yet have to mount it. I gotta mount it still, but this is the key that fits the doors. So when I need to lock it, when this customer needs to lock it, I'm sorry, you'll take this key out and it disables the whole ignition system so that no one can take off with this van. And it works just like the old ignition. But that's the key for the door. You take that out. I'll actually show you what happens without that key in. Start error. And it won't start. It don't even try to start because this key's not in. Yep,